शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, ओम की इस मधुर ध्वनि से किया परिवर्तन। प्रेम शांति सिखा के बदला सभी का जीवन। आदिदेव प्रजापिता श्री, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्ममुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, सोहनी सूरत मोहनी मूरत, ज्ञान के मोती। भव्य मुख पर चंद्रमासी, चमकती ज्योति। दिव्य दर्शन दिव्य वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्ममुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, विश्व में थी पाप की जब घटा छाई, तब विभूति आप जैसी धरती पे आई। एक तार में बंध के सारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्ममुख से मधुर वाणी, ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्ममुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे,
Om Shanti. Good morning. Greetings of peace. And welcome to this morning's Murli class led by the Swiss family. I am Esra, connecting from Istanbul, and I am very happy and honored to present and moderate this morning's class. on Saturday mornings. As you know, many countries from Europe, Balkans, and the Middle East participate in the Murli class with more than 150 participants, brothers and sisters on average. Thanks to Karan Karavanhar Baba and all brothers and sisters who made this happen. And this morning we have a special guest, like every Saturday, and Sister La from Thailand is with us, and she is going to read the Murli and conduct the class for us. And I would like to thank her and introduce her. Sister La took spiritual birth in Japan in 1983. So Sister La
ไม่เห็นหน้าคนพูดในกล้อง
went back to open a center in Thailand in 1986 with international project called Million Minute of Peace in that year. And she is with Baba for decades, and also she got her master's degree in public administration from Pennsylvania State University, United States. And she as a low-kick position, worked as account director of an international advertising agency. Eventually, she is 100% dedicated to Yagya since 1988. At that time, in 1988, Rajo Yoga Center was officially opened by Dadi Chandramarna and Bangkok governor. And since then, she is with Baba and Yagya as a dedicated Brahmin. And we have known her from Madhuban and also during the Murli classes, that we are very glad and happy that she is with us this morning. And I would like to just to remind you as a kind reminder that after Sister La reads the Murli, there will be a question and answer session. So please feel free to type in, write your questions in the chat box. So also I would like to kindly remind Sister La to speak slower than usual, since the Murli will be translated synchronously by many translators. So now I yield the floor to Sister La. Thank you.
Could you hear me now? Could you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Sister La.
Okay. Om Shanti. All my brother and sister. It's just such a privilege to have you or in front of me now. I'm sitting in Thailand, but you are in Geneva and somewhere else in Europe, all over. And I find that as coronavirus, it really give us a blessing. And it's from the words of Hindi, and it's the same word using in Thai, like karuna is mean compassion. I think it's a time for us to be so close to each other, particularly to share the Murli point. It's nothing else, it's more important. So I just had to adjust the system at the moment that I have to read the Murli and not seeing your face and not seeing anyone. But the Murli itself is the point of focus. So today's actually, Baba was saying that at the start of the Murli, he said, children, when you were pure and wiseless, you were very happy and you had limitless happiness. And then at the end of the Murli, Mama asked, what is human life for? She said, you would definitely accept that you want complete happiness and peace at all times. So today my attention to the Murli is on happiness. And I think I look at my life purpose. It is to be able to stay peaceful, to be able to always remain smiling and cheerful. At the end of my journey, let me be such a human being that people will identify with me and feel that I am their sister, nothing else. The last 3 months, I remember here at the main center in Thailand, we were working on virtues that brings happiness. What kind of happiness bring peace, particularly for the September, we had 7 days online programs to celebrate International Day of Peace on 21st September on the theme Inner Peace, World Peace. And in one of the 7 topics, I quoted from Dadi Jangi's spiritual chit chat with people. She was asking the people, or people just asked and she answered, if you ever tour around India, Australia, and Europe, indeed any part of the world, would that be happiness? And or if you were to visit the different shopping center in the country, would you be able to find happiness? If you went to the cinema or the seaside, would you feel permanent happiness? See if you can find happiness somewhere in the world, even you would go away on the pilgrimage. Do you experience happiness as a result? This is what I share to peace lover in our programs recently. I just share the essence of my life and the life of everyone. Is like peace is to be, and love is to do, and happiness is a reward. This is the essence of life. It's inseparable element offered by the universe itself. So you know the law of matter, but the law of our mind, if we focus on bubbles, and that's going to be permanent. So I think this is what I share. But of course, everyone knows that happiness comes from within. We need a lot of power to be happy, and it's not easy to be happy in the way that today's world, it's not almost impossible for someone to be positive and to be cheerful. But the things that you think bring happiness are there for a moment, and I share with them, and the next moment that are gone. So we live in the world of impermanence, that we work so hard to claim a position and to earn money, but to do anything to remain with us is so impossible. The true happiness, and I had a chance to get to the point of the course of the essence I want to share. True happiness comes from by knowing and understanding yourself, from knowing who God is, and finally having the same friendship with everyone through that. You can find real happiness. We are all members of one family, and it's not just a matter of knowing this is a fact, but we have to understand that this is an experience, that the happiness of the experience comes to us in a very natural way and brings power within. That's the power I emphasize on myself as well. That power comes when we end the weaknesses that lies within us. As I speak, think about it, what I'm saying, and experience it, then you will see for yourself whether it's true or not. That's what I challenge the people. But anyway, back to my deep yearning for silence as an oxygen to the mind. I have to give myself time and space for the sake of keeping balance between the mind and the intellect. So to really work together to change the sanskar of weaknesses. And what to do with myself, how to deal with others. Of course, I have to focus clearly on God, to experience purest love. He gives, of course, unconditionally. Then I know internally, and everything in my life and in my drama will be fine. And I feel the conviction internally that everything about me and my life will be sorting it out. So then faith in my intellect will be strengthened. And I have to thank Baba again to remind me in so many ways that whatever I do just has to strengthen my faith and intellect. So today, at least, I have an opportunity to share my journey on Murli a little bit. Thank you all in Europe region, and Europe means East, Europe means West, and I'm here in the East. And I know that we meet at the best place, Madhuban, where we Murli imparted from God for all of us. So I think the Murli itself will say the most beautiful word to share today. So let me read the Murli, and I was wanted to read it very slowly. Let me start it then. That's the Murli on the 2nd of October, 2021. Morning Murli, Om Shanti, Bapdada Madhuban. Essence, sweet children, it is now the end of this land of death. The land of immortality is being established. Therefore, you must remember those who belong to the den of death. Question. What does the father remind his poor children of? Answer. Children, when you were pure and viceless, you were very happy. No one was as wealthy as you were. You had limitless happiness. The earth, the sky, everything was in your hands. The Father has now come to make you wealthy once again. Song. Show the path to the blind, dear God. Om Shanti. You sweetest spiritual children, you so heard the song. Who said this? The spiritual father of souls. The spiritual children say to the spiritual father, Baba, he is called Ishwar, God, and also the Father. Which Father? The Supreme Father. There are two fathers. One is a physical father, and the other is the spiritual father. The children of a physical father called out to the spiritual father, Oh Baba, what is Baba's name? Shiva. Incorporeal Shiva is worshipped. He is called the Supreme Father. A physical father cannot be called the Supreme. The highest on high, the Father of all souls, is just the one. All embodied souls remember that Father. Souls have forgotten who their Father is. They call out, O God, the Father, give us blind ones sight so that we can recognize our Father. We became blind and continued to stumble around on the path of devotion. Now liberate us from this stumbling. The Father comes every cycle and makes forward into heaven. It is now the Iron Age, and the Golden Age is about to come. The period between the Iron Age and the Golden Age is called the conference age. This is the most auspicious conference age. The unlimited Father comes and makes those who have become corrupt elevated once again. He makes them into the highest beings. Lakshmi and Narayan were the highest beings. There was the kingdom of the dynasty of Lakshmi and Narayan. The Father comes and reminds you of that. You people of Bharat were residents of heaven 5,000 years ago and are now residents of hell. 5,000 years ago, Bharat was heaven and it was praised a lot. There were golden palaces studded with gold and diamonds. Now there is nothing. At that time, there were no other religion. There was just the Sun dynasty. Those of the Moon dynasty came later. The Father explained, only you belong to the Sun dynasty. Even now, they still continue to build temples to Lakshmi and Narayan. However, no one knows when the kingdom of Lakshmi and Narayan existed or how they attained their kingdom. They continue to worship them, but don't know anything about them. And so that is blind faith. People worship Shiva and Lakshmi and Narayan, but no one knows their biography. The people of Bharat themselves say that they are impure. O purifier, Baba, come. Come and liberate us from sorrow and kingdom of Ravan. The Father comes and liberates everyone. Come and liberate us from sorrow and the kingdom of Ravan. So you shouldn't know that there was just one kingdom in the golden age. The Congress Party and Prabhu Gandhiji also wanted the establishment of the kingdom of Ram once again. We want to become residents of heaven. You can see what the condition of the resident of hell is like at this time. This is called hell, the devil world. This same part was the deity world. It has now become the devil world. Barbara explained that you have taken 84 births and not 8.4 million births. They have written lies in the scriptures. 5,000 years before today, it was the path of salvation. There was no devotion or any name or trace of sorrow there. That was called the land of happiness. The Father explained, originally you were resident of the land of peace. You came here to play your part. You take 84 rebirths, not 8.4 million rebirths. The unlimited Father has now come to give you children your unlimited inheritance. The Father is talking to you so. In other spiritual gatherings, It is human beings who relate stories of the path of devotion to human beings. When it was heaven, there wasn't a single impure being for the half the cycle. Now there isn't a single pure being. This is the impure world. The Father explains, in the Gita, it is written that God, Krishna, speaks. Krishna is not God, nor did he relate the Gita. Those people don't know their own religious scriptures. They have forgotten their own religion. There are four main religions. First is the Sun dynasty, the original eternal deity religion. And then there is the Moon dynasty. The two together are the deity religion. Yin. There was no mention of sorrow there. You were in the land of happiness for 21 births. Then in the kingdom of Ravan, the path of devotion began. When does Shiv Baba come? When it is the night. Baba comes when the people of Bharat are in extreme darkness. They continue to worship doors. They don't know the biography of a single one. They continue to stumble around on the path of devotion. They go around the pilgrimage places, but there is no attainment there. The Father says, I come and give you through knowledge, through Brahma. People called out, show us the path to the land of happiness and the land of peace. The Father says, I made you so wealthy 5,000 years ago. I gave you so much wealth. Where did you lose it all? You were so wealthy. Who would call it Bharat? Bharat was the most elevated land of all. In fact, this is the greatest pilgrimage place of all because this is the birthplace of the purifier Father. The Father comes and grants salvation to those of all religions. It is now the kingdom of Ravan over the whole world, not just Lanka. These vices did not exist when it was the Sun dynasty kingdom. Bharat was viceless, and it is now vicious. All are residents of hell. Those who belong to the deity community in the Golden Age took 84 births and then became part of the devilish community. They are now to become part of the deity community again. Bharat was very wealthy and it has now become poor. This is why it is baking. The Father reminds you, poor children, you were so happy. No one else can receive as much happiness as you. The earth, the sky, everything was in your hands. By giving the cycle a long duration in the scriptures, they have put everyone to sleep in the devilish sleep of Kumbhakarna. Bharat was the temple of Shiva, established by Shiv Baba. There was purity there, and the deity used to rule in that new world. Human beings do not even know what the relationship between Radha and Krishna was. Each came from a separate kingdom. Sorry. Then at their wedding, there became Lakshmi and Narayan. No, human being has this knowledge. Only the one Father gives this spiritual knowledge. The Father says, now become so conscious. Remember me, your Supreme Father. You will become Satopradhan from Tamopradhan by having remembered. You come here to change from humans into deities. That is, from impure to pure. This is now the kingdom of Ravan. The kingdom of Ravan begins with devotee, or with devotion, sorry. All of those who perform devotion are in the cross of Ravan. The whole world is in the jail of Ravan. The five vices, they are in the cottage of sorrow. The Father comes and liberates everyone, becomes the guide and takes them back home. This is why there is the Mahabharata war, and it took place 5,000 years ago. It took place 5,000 years ago too. The Father is now once again establishing heaven. It isn't that those who have a lot of wealth are in heaven. It is now hell. The Father, not a river, is called the purifier. All of that is the path of devotion. Only Baba comes and explains these things. You know that one is a physical father, the other is the spiritual father from beyond, and the third is the subtle father. The spiritual father from beyond, Shiv Baba, establishes the Brahmin religion through Brahma. He teaches Raj Yoga in order to make Brahmins into deities. It is souls that take rebirth. The soul says, I shed a body and take another. The Father says, consider yourself to be souls and remember me, your Father, and you will become pure. Don't remember a bodily being. It is now the end of the land of death, and the land of immortality is being established. All the innumerable religions are to be destroyed. In the Golden Age, there was just the one deity religion. And then there was the Moon Dynasty of Ram and Sita in the Silver Age. The Father reminds you, children, of the whole cycle. Only the Father establishes the land of peace and the land of happiness. Human beings cannot grant salvation to human beings. All of those gurus belong to the path of devotion. You are now God's children. You are claiming your fortune of the kingdom from Baba. The kingdom is being established. Many subjects are to be created. A handful out of many will become kings. The golden age is called the garden of flowers. It is now the forest of thorns. The kingdom of Brahman is now changing. Destruction has to take place. You are now receiving this knowledge. Lakshmi and Narayan do not have this knowledge. It disappears. No one on the path of devotion knows the Father accurately. The Father is the creator. Even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar are the creation. When you speak of omnipresence, the right to the inheritance is lost. Baba comes and gives everyone the inheritance. Only those who come at the beginning of the golden age take 84 births. Christians take approximately 40 births. People stumble around so much, searching for the one God. You no longer stumble around. Remember the one Father, and you will become Satopradhan from Tamopradhan. This is a pilgrimage. This is a God-fatherly university. You so are studying. Sage and holy men say that souls are immune to the effect of action. However, it is souls that take another birth according to their action. It is souls that perform good or bad actions. At this time in the Iron Age, your actions are sinful, whereas in the Golden Age, your actions are neutral. There are no sins committed there. That is the world of charitable souls. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children. Essence for dana. First, claim your unlimited inheritance from the one Father. Perform elevated actions now that you have found the Father. You mustn't stumble in any way. Sorry. Second, remain aware of what the Father has reminded you of and maintain infinite happiness. Don't remember bodily being. Blessing. May you become aware of being an instrument and thereby pay attention to your every thought and become an embodiment of solution. Everyone's vision is on instrument souls, and so those who are instruments have to pay attention to their thoughts, special attention to their thoughts. If instruments make an excuse about anything, those who follow them will also then make many excuses. If those who are instruments lack anything, it cannot be hidden. Therefore, pay special attention to your thoughts, words, and actions, and become an embodiment of solution. Slogan: knowledgeable souls are those who do not have any ego about their virtues and speciality. Om Shanti. Oh, today we have a special invaluable jewels, invaluable versions of Mateshwari. First, what is the aim and objective of human being? The correct method with which to achieve that. Every human being definitely has to think about what is appropriate to make his or her life good. What is human life for? What should we do in that? Let me ask my heart, do I see that transformation in my life? First of all, we need knowledge in our human life. Then what is the aim and objective of this life? You would definitely accept that you want complete happiness and peace at all times. Am I getting that now? In this dark island age, there is nothing but sorrow and peacelessness. So we will have to think about how we can have peace and happiness. The two words, peace and happiness, that have emerged must definitely have existed in this world. And this is why people ask for it. If a person were to say that he hasn't seen such a world, then how can you believe in such a world? It has been explained that you have the two words, day and night. So there must definitely be day and night. However, since there are two names, there must definitely have a part. In fact, I have also heard there was a stage higher than the Island Age, which was called the Golden Age. If time were to continue as it is now, then why was the name Golden Age given? This world continues to change its stage. Just as you have a young baby, a child, youth, adult, and they continue to change. The world also continues to change in the same way. There is so much difference between today's life and that life. So we have to try and create such an elevated life like that. Second, expansion of the incorporeal world, the subtle world, or the subtle region, and the corporeal world. There are three worlds. One is the incorporeal world. The second is the subtle region. And the third is the corporeal world. You now know that souls reside in the incorporeal world, and the physical human community resides in the corporeal world. Then there is just the world of the subtle region. The thought arises, does this subtle region exist all the time, or does it part continue for only a short time? People of the world think that the subtle region is up above. Angels reside there, and that is called heaven. That they will go there and experience happiness. However, it is now clear that heaven and hell exist in this world. The subtle angelic world where we have visions of pure souls began in the Copper Age. When the path of devotion begins, it is clear that the incorporeal world and the corporeal world exist all the time. We cannot say the subtle region exists all the time. It is only at this time that we especially have a vision of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar. Because it is now that God creates the three forms to which to carry out his three paths. Acha. This is the end of the Murli. Two Murlis at the same time. So Om Shanti again.
Thank you, Sister La. It was such a beautiful spiritual reading,
I can hear your
and
voice.
your soft angelic voice, and your attitude, and the way
I
you
need to
read
hear
the
you
Murli.
clearly.
Oh, you cannot hear
I
me?
need to hear you clearly, louder. I couldn't hear you well. So sorry.
So can you, excuse me, please. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. I am sorry about that. There was a technical issue with my voice. So thank
Yes.
you very much for your lovely reading. Your angelic voice and the way you read the movie was very clear, and we felt all the that spiritual divine energy behind Baba's knowledge. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank
It was
you.
such a rich movie. Baba clarified and summarized many knowledge points in terms of life cycle, cycle of the world. And Mama's class was also rich. So I would like to ask brothers and sisters kindly to convey their questions in the chat box that I can relate them to Sister La. Otherwise, I would like to ask you, Sister La, what is the main point that gave you intoxication in today's Murli?
You asked me first. Today's Murli that I mentioned before, it's the point I made to the people in Thailand when they're seeking for peace. And I keep telling people that peace is inseparable from happiness and love. So the point of Murli today make me feel that no matter how much I want to be peaceful, but I have to be cheerful and keep smiling as well. I think it's not just your face smiling, but internally you have
Your mic is off.
Oh, sorry.
No
Okay,
problem.
it's my turn. You can hear me now.
Yes, maybe you can repeat just the last sentence.
All right. I just want to be sure that but the point of Murli that I mentioned at the beginning is like a happiness that I need to keep my face, cheerful the way the deity is supposed to be, and I have to make effort for. But it can't be fake until you make it. But I think I really need to have the inner peace from within to reach up to that point that the world of happiness is waiting for me. Yeah, I saw the questions. I saw the question on the screen. Should I read it myself again? Yeah.
It's up to you, but if you like, I can read the questions and
All right.
convey
All right.
the
All
general
right.
class. Thank
Okay.
you. The first question is, does subtle world exist 2,500 years or just 100 years?
Again, that
Does subtle world exist
subtle. Okay.
for 2,500 years or just for 100 years?
I think it's just this time that Baba have to play the role of three acts of God, you know. So Brahmapuli, Vishnupuli, and Shankapuli have to be there in the subtle world. So we trying to understand that in 100 years that Baba will play the role of giving us to be prepared to be subtle and go to the soul world. So I think only 100 years, the most for us to really get full benefit บอกจริงใช่ไหมจ๊ะ
All right, thank you. So, dear Sister La, the second question is, what is for your experience and how would you describe the following points? The first point, world of happiness. The second point, subtle region. The third point, incorporeal world. How would you describe those 3 points? And what is your experience in that respect?
Okay.
Thanks.
Let me put it this way. My sincere effort to be subtle is there, but it takes really the whole lifetime to be what Baba wants us to be. Like I'm been like really a true seeker for truth. And I think it should be truthful. It's the whole lifetime that one needs to make effort. So Baba wants us to be subtle, but we have to go through, breaking all the body consciousness, all the rubbers of things between being subtle and being angelic, or being bodiless. It takes like the whole lifetime, and I find it is sometimes we make it, and sometimes we cannot. For sure, that since I took birth, I know this. Theoretically, it's very clear, but practically, sometimes it's not that the mood that we come to point where we can put what we listen, what we think to what we're doing, and what we have to be. So I find it as before I say any words that I experience that, I think I make effort to experience that still. I can be honest like that. I can't be really all the time thinking and then can be doing and being at the same time. I can only think that, of course, I have to be angel, and my desire to be subtle is there, and my subtle father is waiting for me to help me. I mean, Brahma Baba is helping me. So I think at least, I have that faith in him as the angelic father, and he's there in the subtle world. So when I made a connection, I know that I have to just get rid of all these subtle forms that breaking me or keeping me being what should I say? It's just like a barrier between being a subtle and being bodiless is there. So I think in my feelings, I find it's just temporarily that I could feel. But eventually, when I reach up to the point where I can conquer all the things that I have to do out of body consciousness or maybe action conscious, and I have to make effort to be quite clear and being very transparent, which is actually my aim, to be transparent, to be really subtle, to be angelic, but it's not that easy to be at this point of time where everything come up as a test and we going through the ocean of tests. And I can say that maybe someone will get the experience that you're very subtle and you're very angelic, and that maybe the grace of God helped me to be an instrument for others to feel that. For me, myself, I still have to make effort sincerely to be that what I have to be. So this is what I'm in that stage. And even there's some senior that I could feel that are very subtle, but then they're all the time. So we need to come to terms that when we have a relationship with each other, if we have something in between, even a little bit of base thoughts, cut off that relationship with Baba is not really easy to draw all the might that Baba wants to give to us. So be light, that's fine. And then we have to learn to be light even. A lot of things to be done, but we have to learn not to just take it easy, not doing anything, particularly this moment. So much to make effort for, to cover up everything that we haven't done for long in such a good way. So I find that to be prompt and to be punctual and to be accurate in service, in performing any action, that be a priority for me, because I have to get to the point where I can be pure, and purity in that form, to be angel, to be angelic, you have to go through the state of purity in such that Baba wants us to be Satobratan and completely pure. It means you have to be accurate, you have to be ever ready, you have to be alert, you have to be active. All these kind of qualities in purity itself, I think I have to be frank, I have to be honest. That is not that easy to reach to that point where I can share really, really a good effort that I made for myself. Baba can help sometimes for the sake of service. Yes.
Thank you, sister. And the third question is in the chat box. What are Sister La's deepest experiences with Baba? How does she remember Baba?
I think it's just like I have to ask myself, how did it happen? First, desire was created in the intellect itself, that I just wanted to get to know about truth more deeply, and through the medium of Brahma Baba. I remember when I first met him over 30 years ago in Japan. Before I get a connection first with God directly, I have to learn the shortcut by seeing and how Brahma Baba's work on himself, and I can get into the mode of get inspiration from this medium, that he is such an example. And I think by the time I get recognized, when I recognize God as that truth, and I was able to gain the recognition of my own inner self. So I think it takes like it gradually it comes when it, when I found out about my life was to be in Japan at that time and for a spiritual birth. So initially I was thinking to write about my own life story and leave memorial behind to inspire others. I thought I was a woman with independence mean, to use my pens, to use my notebook, to reveal the secrets of the universe even through self-realization.
I am sorry to interrupt. May I kindly ask you to speak slower for the translators, please?
Sorry.
You are welcome. Thank you.
All right. So you talk about my experience of connected with God. I started with the first impression that I have in Brahma Kumaris. At that time, I was living in Japan, and I got into Japan Center, and I started to see the photos of Brahma Baba, and I got so inspired that he was an instrument for me to find out about God and the way he used his life. So after going through all the 7-day course and practicing Raj Yoga step by step, and I started to see truly, clearly what the truth behind this man. And then I started to make effort to put that truth into my action. Then I recognized who God is. Once I recognized, and I started to see my inner self, but through recognition of the self is there. Once I realized that God is using this medium to inspire me to follow him, and I feel really close to Brahma Baba in that way, because I searched for that and what he said, what he did in his life. But for myself, for my sake of getting to know God, the first and foremost experience that I have, it happened when I come back to Japan, when I came back to Thailand with the project of Million Minutes. And I work like mad, really. I just want to share peace on earth, particularly in Buddhist country. I think the project itself took me to the place where I could feel that no one else could achieve this, can do this, except God, inspiring me and making me doing everything. I'd experienced Karan from that moment that I involved with 100%, 1,000% even for Million Minutes, that I could feel that what I want to share peace with this country is actually, it's come back to me in the way that I was so sure. The ocean of peace, it was with me all the time. Whenever I think of peace, I experience that. And whenever I want to share peace, I get peace from others and for what I did. And I find it practically happened like that. Unless you do your work in the way that God wants you to be in His instrument. Because at that time, I think if only my life can be used for Him, so I can be totally sure that He inspired me and He made me feel that I'm so close to Him. And He made me feel that I'm loved because I want to be of His use all the time. And that's what I experienced practically in a service field. Was it clear?
Thank you very much. As far as I am concerned, it is very clear, dear Sister La. May I just ask you a personal question?
Yes.
Apart from the chat box? I would like to ask you regarding your advices, your suggestions in terms of keeping the fire of joy and enthusiasm alive constantly in our Brahmin life.
Yes. I think I was named and I was called by the students who saw me from the beginning up to now, over 30 years, almost. Some was with me from the beginning. And they could see that they couldn't see me have no zeal enthusiasm for even one day. They could feel that zeal enthusiasm in me all the time. I find that is a practical proof that I was with them and I couldn't just let them hang around without doing anything, um, in a appropriate way or in an enthusiastic way. So I find it as my enthusiasm was maintained out of my creative power, because I find it as the creative energies of God is within me, and I can never lack of that. Whatever I meet someone, I could really starting to feel something, and I started to connect with them, and I know that I have a lot to do with them, to see them through either the project or the program that we do together. We in that program together, and I could feel that I can never have that the feelings that I lack of hope in them, to make them move forward in the way that the life needs it for us to be better. I think when I got into the world of Brahmins, where I think service is the mainstream for me, and Baba also gave me the blessing from the beginning that everything will be done to your love of service. And I find that service can help me to be such an instrument that I can remain still and enthusiastic in whatever way that I can work with anyone, with even their lack of hopes, but I feel that I have hopes in them, but I could feel the speciality in them, and I could feel that they can be useful in any way that service is needed at that moment. And I find that I have that Shakti power, because Shakti is mean also creative energy of God is there, and feminine qualities. It's there that I full of that Shakti in a way that I can put my strength there and my hopes in others. And I could see the potential in each and every one to work hard. And I know that my life is not going to just sit still, but I know that the sense of urgency is there, that our life is so worthwhile. We cannot just leave it as it is, being idle, not doing anything. I think at least I value my life. I have self-respect enough to just increase my self-esteem and my self-confidence in doing things without depending on anyone. I think that that's key my key elements, or um, my main key to really go through anything without waiting or thinking anyone will come and support, because nothing else can support me except one strength, one support, except God. So I have deep faith in God to be my strength and my power to carry on, no matter how many students will leave me or how many students will get something to really say goodbye and Om Shanti for a while. But I keep carry on. I still feel that it's nothing to do with anyone or any numbers of students. And I feel that I can go with God backing me up. And I always feel that way.
Thank you for your insights. If you are okay with time-wise, with time, I would like to ask you a last question from the chat box. In today's Murli, in the blessings, it was mentioned that as an instrument, you need to pay special attention to your thoughts to experience infinite happiness. What are some of your experiences and learnings from life in service that help you to more easily watch your thoughts?
My thoughts, I have to pay attention to my thoughts, really. I just have the slogan for the student these days, that put your thought into image. So you cannot just keep thinking, listening. And that is 2,500 years. The first the first half of our bhakti sanskar, we only listen to the scriptures, we only think about it, philosophize about that, but we hardly could do anything about it, and we could hardly see ourselves to reach the point where we can be truthful. As I say, truth is easily to learn, and within 7 days you learn a lot about truth, about yourself, knowing God, knowing Dharma. But to be truthful, it takes whole lifetime, as I said before. But myself, it's just like if I keep thinking and not putting into action and not experimented on the field of service to see whether anyone will get benefit from what I've been doing or get better, I think I have to recheck. So my thought, it should be something to be practical, and at least to make me a better person. Even then, I'm not quite happy about the way I make myself better. But again, back to the thought that I would really put into a practical way to make people happy about that or content about that. So the thoughts, when I put into image, I have so many image in my head, and I can see, I can bump into any image in my life that I could really recreate a new nest in me and the creative things that I can create out of that. Or even through the songs, poems, and books and things that I could get across. And I find that I think the time for image to show is to be truthful. As I say, to think, to listen, and to do it. It's to be wise, and to be truthful is to be. like Baba wants us to be. So I think I have a lot of steps to go through. And today's Murli, it's talking about you used to be very wise. You used to be very happy. You used to be pure. And to be pure is to be wise. And to be wise is to be non-violent, no vice. And that's why you have to see yourself that to be completely at ease with yourself, and everyone will be at ease with you. Everyone will be happy with you. I think, and that is the way I want to put my thoughts into action to make everyone give me a certificate of, okay, I'm happy with you. I will call you sister. I have nothing clinging on to the past or holding any grudges against you. So that's kind of things you have to work harder when you get into each and individual, come with all these personal issue. But I think I can get over that personal issue easily when I work in the name of God, and I just want to give liberation to myself and become calmity. So my aim was like very transparent. I don't want to hide anything behind. I just want to be honest with my relationship. And I just can't pretend that I'm perfect now, but I have to make a lot more effort so that my thought can be practical.
So, as some brothers expressed in the chat box, I would like to say that thank you very much for your truthful and insightful sharings. They were very elevated, accurate, and sincere, as well as honest. And we have benefited from your sharings, dear Sister La. Thank you very much indeed. And I do remember that, as I mentioned in the beginning of the class, we have known you from Murli classes, and we met you during Murli classes. And I remember your story of becoming Baba's child and how you actually accepted faithfully Baba and Baba's knowledge instantly, which I was admired actually, which I was very impressed with the story. So thank you very much. And I would like to ask your angelic enlightening drishti. And next Saturday, I would like to remind kindly that Sister Mira Ben from Malaysia will read the Murli for us.
Okay.
So thank you for joining us. Thanks for everybody. So Sister La, we are with your Drishti, wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Gratitude and greetings of peace and love. Thank you.
Thank you for all that support in making me become instrument